There's stories all over the internet about farmers going bankrupt across the country. And I want you to know, I want to feel sorry for you. I'm struggling. I'm struggling to care at all. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart, because typically I have empathy, but I'm really, really tired of telling you farmers and you people that are in rural parts of the United States, I'm tired of telling you what your vote does to you. Yeah, I mean, you guys in the red states, you keep doing the same thing over and over again, and you're broke. You don't have any money. West Virginia, Louisiana, Mississippi, Arkansas, you get my point. You're broke. And yet you keep voting for the Republican Party that wants nothing to do with you. And farmers, guess what? You're included. But you keep voting red, and now you want me to feel sorry for you. I'm sorry. I just can't.
The president won me over with his commitment to business-friendly tax cuts, as well as his track record of reducing regulation and cutting government spending. I am one of 500,000 soybean farmers in America who feels the pain. As a businessman, President Trump must know how urgent this is. Does he? Is he? Anyway, he goes on to say the current trade war with China is a gamble with American livelihoods, especially for farmers, those of us who grew up with soil and sweat, who can't imagine doing anything else. Mr. President, I hope you hear our plea. Please make a deal with China now. Yeah, so he doesn't get it. He doesn't get it. There is no deal to be had. As of now, the majority of Trump's base is sticking with him on these tariffs. But it's gonna catch up with them. They're gonna realize sooner or later there are no deals. He is not the deal maker. He screwed up. And no, China is not begging and pleading and knocking on our door.
Welcome back to this channel, family. Today's reaction is gonna sting because we are looking at the fallout hitting some of Trump's most loyal supporters, the American white farmers. Yes, tariffs, trade wars, and now bankruptcy. Let's get into this, guys. In this video of today, it is very much emotional and eye-opening. It is a reaction video, and we are going to take a deep dive into the growing regret among the American farmers who once proudly backed Donald Trump. With tariffs backfiring and international trade wars hitting hard, many of these loyal supporters are now facing devastating financial ruin. Family farms are closing, equipment is being repossessed, and generational legacies are crumbling under the weight of economic decisions they once cheered for. So guys, why are Trump's former supporters in rural America now questioning everything? How did the very policies meant to protect them end up causing so much harm? Guys, watch as we break it all down, the emotions, the regrets, and the reality many didn't see coming. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more unfiltered reactions and real talk. Of course, all credit belongs to the original creators of this video. Let's get into this.
U.S. farmers are about to go bankrupt, and it's all because of the trade war with China. And this is a really big deal because when we saw the previous trade war that Trump imposed, we saw that it hit farmers really bad. And they had to do the same thing that the United States claims China is doing that makes them so bad, which is subsidizing their own industry. The United States is currently a net food importer. That means that they import more food than they do export. And the primary place that the United States exports their food to is China. This includes things like soybean, meat, and cotton, right? Where the United States has made a multitude of billions of dollars. Nearly about 14 billion in soybeans, about 4 billion in meat. The United States needs these markets. And if the United States continues to lose the market of selling to China, this is going to be really, really bad. Because one, the United States had 23,000 people die of starvation in 2023, by the way. So now all of this food that is most likely going to go to waste if they have no other market to sell it to, because if they lose China, one of the largest consumers of their agriculture, it is going to be very difficult to find additional markets that can afford to purchase U.S. agriculture. That means that all of these farmers will no longer have somewhere to sell them, which then, of course, if you're not earning an income, will cause your business to go bankrupt, which was the primary risk we saw during Trump's first term, where U.S. farmers were going bankrupt or were on the edge of bankruptcy. But luckily, China and the United States worked out a deal, and the U.S. solidified a contract with China that involved them purchasing agriculture at a set amount. But now, with this new ramping up of the escalation of this trade war, will China work out a deal like this? And I really don't see it, because I don't see the United States folding. I don't see the United States coming to an agreement with China. I believe the decoupling is genuinely starting. This is the point in which the U.S. hopes to try and solidify a split between the United States and genuinely a split between the G7 and the collective West and the rising East and BRIC nations. So what will happen? And it's not like any socialism or communism would happen, where when these farmers no longer have a market to sell to, they just give the free food to the people in their country that need it. Of course, that's not going to happen. What's going to happen is that they're probably just going to throw away all of this extra harvest.
The farmers predominantly voted for the current president. They also voted for Pete Ricketts and Deb Fischer, who aren't doing anything for them. And China announced that they're not going to buy corn and soybeans today, or I think they've done it over the last couple days. I think it was last week, because of the trade war their current president that they voted for decided to wage, a trade war with China. They're not going to buy your goods. And I know that a lot of you have said that you want aid. Well, as a taxpayer who lives in Nebraska, who did vote for the right candidate, I don't think I want my tax dollars going to bail you out. I think you actually should sit in your decisions and feel the effects. You want us to. Every time we vote for a Democrat and you say they're horrible. So at this point in time, I'm going to tell you the same thing you say to me back. You wanted to vote for this. Now you get to deal with the consequences. And I don't think I should have to bail you out, because I work hard for my money too, and my dollars shouldn't bail out your bad decisions. So yeah, today I'm telling you, the farmers here in Nebraska, you need to deal with your own decisions. It's your consequences, not mine, and I don't want to pay for them.
Imagine, guys, these are the same farmers who stood strong for Donald Trump. They believed that he'd protect them. They believed that he would fight for them. They believed that he would bring back prosperity to rural America. But now the reality check is very much brutal. Let's get into this.
American farmers aren't quitting. They're dying. We lose more than 300 farmers to suicide every single year in the United States. That's more than double the national average. Not because they fail, but because the system is designed to crush them. Percy Schmeiser didn't buy Monsanto seeds. Wind blew GMO pollen onto his land. They sued him anyway. That's how broken this is. You don't even own the food grow if it's patented. USDA agents raided an Amish farm at gunpoint. Why? Raw milk. The public seed library in Missouri was shut down. Why? No barcodes. You think you're free to farm? Try selling beef without USDA approval. Try saving your seeds. Try skipping vaccines for your livestock. Try doing it your way and watch what happens. This isn't about food safety. It's about control. Control the seeds, control the food, control the food, control the people. And that's exactly what they're doing.
55%. That's the rate that American farmers have been declaring bankruptcy over and above last year. 55% more bankruptcies of American farmers. And it's the conditions, the economic conditions that are contributing to it. A lack of a workforce, a lack of labor, tariffs, the whole 9 yards. Everything this administration has done is contributing to these people losing everything. They're losing the farm, right? So why is this important? Why should you care? Well, what happens when a family declares bankruptcy is that their property is sold in a sheriff's auction. to satisfy creditors. So they lose their property. It's fire sailed. And, you know, if they've got a $1 million loan on the 1,000 acres they got, and they get $500,000 for the property, well, they're on the hook for another $500,000. We're talking about generations that have farmed land, that have been farmers their entire lives, losing everything because they can't sell a product overseas. I mean, most of our corn and grain is sold to other countries, and the tariffs are making it more expensive than other options. So they can't sell what they've farmed for decades or centuries. So what's the end run here? Why is this happening? Well, my speculation is that there's large, massive farming operations out there, very large corporations that have hundreds of thousands, if not millions of acres. For example, the King Ranch. And 25 years ago, they had 1 million acres and several 100,000 head of cattle. And they're looking to expand. So how do you expand cheaply? Well, what you do is you get somebody to pass legislation that's going to make family farms file bankruptcy. And then instead of giving them fair market value for it, you can just buy the land in foreclosure. So, well, out of bankruptcy. So that's the end run here. That's what all these policies are doing, is simply gutting family farmers to allow corporations to get farmland cheaply. It's a shame. It's sad. It's shameful. But that's what this administration is going for, you know. Line the pockets of the big corporations, the big farmers, and shaft us.
Oh, I'm a soybean farmer that voted for Trump, and I'm begging him to stop this trade war. Oh, look at you. You're so different. You're so strong. You're so brave. See, you're like a 10th generation soybean farmer, and apparently the president of like the American Soybean Farmers Association. You know that last time he was in office, soybean farmers lost $20 billion because of his tariffs. And our tax money had to bail you out. And you voted for him again. And now you're like, oh, I'm begging him, please stop. This was in Project 2025. Hello? So tired of you people. I saw a video of the cheese lady, the cheese slice lady. I saw a video of her like at a store pointing to cheese and saying, haha, see, some of us can laugh at ourselves. You. Right. Glaring red flags. You ignored all of it. And now you're like, I'm a soybean farmer and I'm begging him, please stop doing exactly what you said you were going to do. Oh, I'm the cheese lady. I'm the cheese lady. See, I can laugh at myself. Obviously, I got tricked, but I can laugh at myself. There are people whose lives have truly been impacted by his whims. Cheese lady, we don't need you to laugh at yourself. We need you to apologize. What, soybean farmer? We need you to say, I am such an asshole. It was crystal clear. He said, I'm going to do this to you. Now I'm like, apologize to the whole country.
The Trump administration and went to Augusta on Wednesday to protest the funding cuts and unpredictability that his USDA is causing for these farms. 150 farmers and supporters protested outside the state capitol, driving tractors and livestock trailers and carrying signs to draw attention to how President Trump is hurting Maine farms. We've told you before about how Trump's USDA has broken signed contracts that it had with farmers across the country.
Now, if Joe Biden already bailed you guys out the first time because Donald Trump screwed you over his first term in office, you guys seen what the fuck he did to you, and then you voted him back in again, and you think that we're supposed to have some sympathy points, or you going on CNN crying because he's f***ing your shit up again? Really? Get the fuck out of here with that shit. The farmers and motherfuckers Nebraska, Wisconsin, all of these states that are being affected, and they're trying to come on social media and the news stations crying now for sympathy points because they f***ed themselves over by voting for this orange little bitch. Nah, it's too late for that shit now. Suck it the f*** up and struggle for the next 4 years.
Our new trade policy will also be great for the American farmer. I love the... No, the hell he doesn't. During the last trade war, we saw an increase in farm bankruptcies. We lost 90% of our soybean sales the week the tariffs went on. And that was just playing FAFO in one country. Now the whole world's tariff. I dropped my phone. Soybeans are currently down 28 today. Corn was leaking lower about 5 to 7 cents, and now it's looking at like it's 2 to 1 penny across the board. Crude's down to $61.99, which means no drill, baby, drill. Live cattle are down 4, feeder are down 6. Hogs are down 3, cotton's down almost 3, and the dollar can't decide if it wants to be weaker or stronger. Trump doesn't love the American farm. He doesn't understand how tariffs work.
In agriculture, there's about 85% of what happens on my farm that is completely out of my control.
Yeah.
So I have to do the very best I can at managing that 15% of inputs and cost and labor and marketing and signing the best contract and doing the best job that I can, and leave the other 85% up to the good Lord. And that's all we can do.
I don't know how many times I have to say it, the 78 million are more apt to grow than to dissipate. No matter what you do, those people will have a reason why they should vote for Donald Trump. And they will stand on that reason until their very last breath. That is a cult. There's no politician, I don't care if it's Jasmine Crockett, I don't care if it's Donald Trump, Joe Biden, or Barack Obama, none of them would I stand with until my last breath. I might follow Colin Powell into war. Oh, hell yeah, I'll do that as a military, as an ex-Marine. But those politicians, no.
Well, I have some mixed feelings about these farmers that are getting screwed over by these tariffs. There's part of me that wants to laugh in their faces and say, congratulations, you got exactly what you voted for, bro. And then there's another side of me that understands that these people are just too simple and don't really understand what they did.
You don't want to hear the price I'm about to give you. I said, well, give it to me anyways. He said, each of those steaks now is going to be $1.74 a piece. I said, well,
double the price.
We can't do that. And that's going to be impossible. So that's just to let you know a little bit of what we're going through out here on our farm and what farmers in general are going through. These tariffs, not the best thing for our country. I voted for Trump.
Now, if you didn't catch that at the end, he said, these tariffs aren't the best thing for our country, and I voted for Trump. These people don't really pay attention to the news. These are people that just listen to what Earl says down at the diner, and he's voted Republican his whole life because they're the party of God. They're trying to compare these tariffs to a natural disaster, but this isn't a natural disaster. This was a decision made by one man who is screwing them over, and they're just like, well, it's in the Lord's hands. What can we do? And this, again, is why religion is so dangerous. They're willing to accept financial ruin because the Lord's got this, so I'm not going to be worried about what Trump decides to do. And my friends over at the Cowboy Church told me that God put him in office for a reason. And that's just it. When you think that there's a supernatural force just watching over you at all times, nothing matters. Your family might starve. Well, if that's what God wants, who am I to argue with him?
Yeah, guys, I'm back here. You know, you have listened to everything. These farmers have said everything. They lost everything, as in they are just left with nothing. Yeah, they voted based on promises of economic revival, but instead, tariffs on China destroyed their export markets. Their prices dropped, and now they are being buried in debt. Yes, yeah. So this is what happens when policy is driven by politics over planning. When you don't fully understand the global economy, but you mess with it anyway. Yeah, it's the working class folks who pay the price. Yeah. So, and to be clear, this ain't about laughing at the pain. These are people who truly believe they were choosing leadership that would fight for them. But now, they are watching their farms, sometimes in their family for generations, slip away. Yes, so the tariffs were supposed to punish China, right? But China found new markets while our farmers were left hanging with no buyers, no subsidies. They were left with nothing, no subsidies that lasted and no safety net. Yeah, so what is the turning point anyway? This one farmer said that, there is one farmer who said that he feels betrayed. Yeah, that's right there. That's the key, because betrayal isn't just about broken promises. It's about trust that's been violated. Yeah, Trump knew these people would vote for him no matter what. And instead of protecting them, he used them. Yes, that is what we can say. As pawns in a global chess game he wasn't prepared to play. Yeah, so this is not just a red state issue. This is a human issue, guys. Yeah, it's a reminder that working class people, no matter who they vote for, need real policy, not performative politics. And this situation also shows what happens when people vote based on identity, when people vote based on slogans or anger, instead of looking deep into who is really for the people. Yes, so my heart breaks for these families. But let this be a wake-up call for everyone. Your vote has consequences. My vote has consequences. Don't vote to wish other people bad luck. Don't vote against your best interests at heart, because karma may hit you badly. Yeah, so your vote has consequences, and blind loyalty, that's expensive. And in this case, it's costing people their land, it's costing people their livelihoods, it's costing people their futures. So let me know in the comments what you all think. Have you seen stories like this in your area? Do you think farmers will still support Trump later on after this? Yeah, so all credit belongs to the original creators of this video. This video is meant for educational purposes. If you felt this reaction, go ahead and smash that like button, hit that subscribe and share this video. Let's get the truth out there. Until next time, guys, stay woke, stay grounded, and stay watching. Bye bye.